Now, we are certainly coming off one of the most interesting weekends we've had in a very, very long time. We're going to talk about the crypto summit announcement, the crazy move on Sunday and all the crypto's response or reaction to it. We're going to get into what to look out for this week. There's a couple events going on this week that you have to pay close attention to. And like I always say, every day is an adventure in crypto. So that's why you want to check in here every single day, because we put out episodes every day. If you're not a subscriber, now's the time to hit the subscribe button and the like button and share it with someone you think might benefit. And with that, let's get to it. So look, this week in crypto is going to be an exciting week. But first, we're going to get into what happened last weekend. And the obvious big thing that happened last weekend was the Trump announcement, two Trump announcements. One is that there's going to be a crypto summit March 7th, and the other one being that that he's going to create a strategic reserve. And here's the big news. It's not just Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Ripple's XRP, and Solana. So those 5 tokens are the ones that, got a lot of attention over the weekend. But nothing's set in stone at this point. What really freaked out a lot of people was when the initial announcement came over, it said, these 3 coins, XRP, Cardano, and Solana. And then he came back and said, obviously, Bitcoin and Ethereum. I love Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, it wasn't obvious. If you didn't put it in the text, it wasn't obvious. But Bitcoin pumped anyway. So let's take a quick look. So, as I said before, double top, boom, 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 top, down, broke the neckline, came down here, wicked down to about 77, 78,000. And then we had this God candle yesterday. Let me get in a little closer. We had this God candle yesterday. This one was, I'm sure you saw this, but from its peak to its, get in here, from its peak or its trough to its peak, we're talking about a 21% move in a series of hours. So very cool. And then if you saw this one, yesterday we got back into the 80s, or I'm sorry, last week got back into the 80s and then shot up. I'm trying to make this candle here. It's giving me problems. Shot up to, about 10, 11, 12% yesterday. Actually, I didn't get that at the bottom. Look at me. So yeah, about 12% yesterday. Shot up. And that was, it happened quickly. I went to the bathroom. I came back and boom, Bitcoin's in the 90s. I wrote a few trades. I closed them all out yesterday because I was worried for the bounce down and the retracement, in which we had a bit today. So all in all, Bitcoin's still in the 90s now. We're back out of we're out of the 70s danger zone. We're out of the 80s that we were bouncing around for a while. And then we're in the 90s. Now, hopefully it can hold those candles. But this week's going to be very interesting. Before I get into that, look, ADA, Solana, and XRP, those are the ones that are in a lot of focus. Yesterday, ADA or Cardano had a serious move. Check this out. It went up, and it's from its trough to its peak, about 97% yesterday at its height. Now we're back down to, from its trough to where we are now, it's up still about 60, 70%. So still a significant increase over the others. Now, XRP had a good move too, but it didn't have quite the same movement as Cardano did. But in any event, we're still holding some of these gains, which is great. ADA or Cardano holding the most of the gains over the last couple of days. The week still not crazy. We went down so much. We got a long way to go up that it is still, this is in the last week. ADA is up 35%, but you still have coins that are down 10, 15, 20% still just in the last week, even with yesterday's pump. So obviously some coins are going to pump more than others. This is going to be a selective. Every coin will not pump this rally. This isn't financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor, but this is my take on it, is that we're only going to see coins that should pump actually pump. And the ones that aren't going to pump just aren't going to pump. And obviously those 4 alts, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and Cardano, they're the ones that are going to probably pump the most. My opinion, I could be wrong, but those are the ones I want to hold long term. That's actually where the biggest stake of to be clear and transparent, that's where most of my bags are held, in those 5 coins: Solana, XRP, Cardano, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. And that's what I'm looking at, all the American cryptos. And you see Bitcoin actually rose in dominance yesterday. I thought it'd be the opposite, but it rose in dominance. We're at our highest dominance since Bitcoin dominance since way back to 21. So back almost 4 years ago, we haven't seen Bitcoin's dominance this high in about 4 years. So that is very interesting. That was right before alt season back in 21. And that makes sense that this is playing out again. I mean, look at this. It's almost to the day. I mean, back here in right here, 3.7, Bitcoin was about the same dominance as it right now. And then it dropped. And then we had altcoin season. So very interesting to see where we are right now. Don't know if Bitcoin's going to drop, but maybe others rise. We'll see. Fear and greed, we're back to 33. Remember, we were at 10 just a couple days ago. 10. And everyone was fearful, and Bitcoin was 78,000. When I see something in the 10s or 20s, to me, that's a buy signal. That's a buy signal. I put a little more into my bags. I'm running out of dry powder, so to speak, but I put a little more in my bags last week. And it's funny, the ones I did load up on, Solana, Cardano, XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. I think I lucked out. Look at the total market cap of crypto, about 3.05. That's up from its top or bottom around 2.8. Remember, we got up to 3.8 earlier in this cycle. So can it make it back? I think it will. It's just a matter of time. That's my opinion. I don't think we've seen the end of this pump. Liquidation levels, they're all over the map now. They're spread much more evenly. But there's a lot of longs to be liquidated. I still worry about another bounce or retracement down before we bounce back up because these markets are insatiable. They just want your leveraged money. They want it now. And so they'll do a lot of things to get it. There is a bunch of shorts that can be liquidated when we got to our height. I think people didn't trust the pump. They put some short leverage on thinking we would bounce back down after the news subsided. Well, it's still holding above 90, 92, 93 right now. Yeah, we're about 93 and change. Remember, it pumped up to around 95. So we have a good opportunity to stay in those 90s right now with what's coming down the pipe, and especially what's coming on Friday. So as you may or may not know, on Friday, they're going to have a crypto summit. David Sachs, the crypto czar, is going to lead it, but they've invited a lot of the major players in the space, the CEOs, the presidents, the founders, to participate in that summit. Now, my guess is that the announcements this week, my guess is that those were timed specifically. I don't think that he initially anticipated saying anything prior to that summit. But when you see crypto in a free fall and you have money at play and the government has money to lose because the government owns a ton of Bitcoin, that maybe it's good to give people a little sneak peek. Now, I think that was done to preserve the market. And I think it was done to give people hope and excitement because the patience was running very, very low and we were getting into critical areas. You can't, it's hard to tease someone with something months ago and then not say anything about it. So I think this was timely. I think the crypto summit is needed. I don't think we're going to get a lot of resolve out of that because remember, for these things to be passed, it has to go through Congress. They have to fund it. Unless they're going to do something with the stock they already had, which would be helpful to say, we're not selling those 400,000 Bitcoin that we own. We're going to hold on to that as part of the strategic reserve, and that's how we're going to start it out. That would certainly be a big help to crypto to know that 400,000 isn't going to go back on the market anytime soon, like Germany did last summer and just tanked the Bitcoin market. Now they wish they held on to those coins. So one more thing before we go. And this is the economic calendar for this week. Very important numbers coming out this week. Like I said, every day is an adventure in crypto. We'll review these as they come up. Today is Monday, March 3rd. We've got construction spending. Now, I always think construction spending is a big indicator of what's to come because if construction spending goes down, the construction jobs make up the base of this economy. And as that comes down, construction is the first to go typically in the unemployment. Well, unfortunate, but fact. That when the construction spending lowers, that means there's going to be unemployment in construction workers that will be seeking unemployment. So that would raise those numbers. And the reason why I'm talking about this macroeconomic information has a lot more to do with what the federal funds rate is going to do and quantitative tightening might ease if these numbers start to soften. And we're starting to see some cracks in the numbers. And so this week we're going to look at, so Monday's pretty relative construction spending, ISM manufacturing, and final manufacturing PMI. But then we got unemployment numbers on Wednesday. ADP is one big payroll issuer, and their numbers are extraordinarily important because it's the private sector. And then we've got initial jobless claims on Thursday. Big indicator. Could swing markets if this comes in higher than expected. Could greatly improve the chances of a Fed rate reduction. Right now, we only have a 5% rate reduction chance in the next meeting this month in March. May, significant change. Now we're at 25% for reduction. June, we're looking at almost a 70% or 75% chance of lowering of the rates, either 25 or 50 basis points. We go into July, September, October, December. December, it looks like more than, a significant chance of 50 to 75 basis points. Some are predicting even as much a 15% chance of 125% basis point cut. So this is good for money, but not necessarily great for the economy. But it is good to add to the M2 supply of money, which increases the chance of people having more money in their hands to invest into crypto as rates come down and your banks are looking for risk on investments such as crypto, bonds, stocks, other things like that. So this could be very bullish for crypto with putting more money in your hands that you can put where you want to invest it. That all being said, there's a lot going on this week, so make sure you tune in, pay attention. Last weekend was just, yesterday was a day. That was a day when you see God candles shoot up 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% in a day. It just shows you what crypto is capable of. And, if you're thinking about buying, I'm not telling you to do so, but you don't want to buy when everyone else is buying and FOMO in. Just wait for those times. You might miss it, but you want to wait for a level that makes sense to buy versus buying in when everyone else is. Because look, we've already retraced. If you bought at the height yesterday thinking it's only going to go higher and higher, you bought on the top of that range, you're going to have to hold those as it comes back down and then goes back up, potentially. Maybe never goes back up. So that's the challenge in this market. It's better to buy when everyone else is selling and sell when everyone else is buying. That's all I got. Hope you got some value out of this today. And do me a favor, if you're not a subscriber, hit like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time.